Yep, a lot to get to. We're also going to show you the high school football players who will be taking part in the 89th Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas. This historic game is the oldest Shrine Bowl game in the nation and has seen some legends take to the field. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but first, a look back at Week 6 on the high school football field. Jack.
Yeah, there was a lot of Shrine Bowl caliber players taken to the field during Week 6. You see right here out of the gate, Ashbrook undefeated, putting the hurt on rival North Gaston. Defense was the name of the game. A 44-0 shutout for Ashbrook. A big win on conference play. Now, from shutouts to close matchups, Catholic in overtime against Porter Ridge are able to survive against the Pirates and getting a much-needed win in conference play for Charlotte Catholic. Now, back out to the Big South Conference, where Big South Point had their first loss of the season up against Ashbrook, so they come in with looking for revenge up against Hunter Huss. Quarterback making everybody miss, going untouched to the end zone to spark a 53-6 victory over the Huskies. Now, there was some non-conference competition as well. Still, Butler up against Chambers. Both teams needing a big win, but it'd be Butler that would be able to get it. Actually, this is conference play, of course, but they get the win over Chambers. Coach Munnerlin still trying to get things right for Chambers. A big conference to do so in. Continuing on, J.M. Robinson delayed for over an hour and a half, but when they finally got out onto the field, they were able to put some points on the board before the weather came in again. They win this one 14-0 over Salisbury. Fort Mill lost last week and has not been able to pick it up. They would get some points here early on, but in the end, Clover holds out for a 27-26 victory over Fort Mill. We saw last week Providence getting a big win over Butler. They would continue their winning ways up against Rocky River to get a big win in the conference play and a shutout no less, 27-0 over the Ravens. Now, let's head out to the Southern Carolina Conference. We've talked about Weddington as they're looking to see that they are the best and the best, and this week only continue to prove that. Sun Valley, they're no slouch, but in this one, Weddington runs away with it 21-6 over their conference rivals, continuing to dominate in the Southern Carolina Conference. We head out to East Meck up against Ballantyne Ridge. Two teams looking to show that they can compete and looking for more than just a couple wins on the season. Ballantyne Ridge would make some plays, make some magic happen, but in the end, East Meck getting a huge win at home, 19-13 over Ballantyne Ridge in their new conference opponents. We talk about conference competition. There always are some shockers, some games that might be a little bit too close for comfort, and that's what Forest Hills experienced on Friday night up against Parkwood. They're on the road, so you can never really count out a team that is at home. But in the very final minutes, Forest Hills gets just enough to secure the win, 25-21. Like I said, a lot closer than they were expecting. Now, the weather had a huge impact around the area. A.L. Brown and Philip O'Berry not able to play until Monday night, so that's what you're seeing here, a little bit of Monday Night Football, where the Wonders would run away with it 42-6, and then finally back on Friday, Concord getting a big win over South Rowan, 38-16. A lot of big performances, Jeff.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on and take a look at our NIL spotlight for this week. The performance comes from our WCCB Game of the Week. West Charlotte looked to further cement their proclamation as the kings of the Queen City, and leading that royal charge was Air Force commit Rakeem Finch, who helped take down Mallard Creek. He had an explosive 3-touchdown performance, ignited by a 65-yarder at the very beginning of the game, alongside Charlotte commit Dante Nicholson, who also had a great game. They are doing more than their fair share toward getting junior quarterback Jamori Nichols some of his own Power 5 offers. That was a great game, but that's two kids right there who can play some football for you.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about having a standout performance, to do so on a standout team.
Right.
No less, to have 3 touchdowns in West Charlotte's offense.
Yep.
That's a feat in and of itself, and it's a bit of a preview as to what's to come into this week's Game of the Week.
Absolutely. All right, so that puts a wrap on Week 6. So let's talk about tonight's high school football action. Later, we're going to talk about the few key matchups, but for now, let's focus on WCCB Game of the Week between West Charlotte and Independence.
Yeah, this one's as good as it gets in the Queen City. Two historic powerhouses facing off in a game that could determine the MEC Power 6 champion and who is seated where and how high up for the playoffs. We just saw West Charlotte coming into this one with a huge win over Mallard Creek to start off their conference play. They really needed that to really cement their claim as being the best of the best in the area. Now for Indy, it's their first game in the conference.
And it's a tough one.
It absolutely is. Coming off of a bye, you know, they really want a big win here, and this is a high school game that fans around the area and the state have waited for.
Promoting this thing for a couple of years now. I hope you got your ticket because it's limited access. You know, it's not up to us. It's over our heads about that limited access. So that's a shame. But yeah, this game's been promoted for a couple years now. We were supposed to play them last year. It fell through for different reasons, and we finally get to play this game as a conference game. High stakes at conference championship aspirations involved here, so we're excited about it, no doubt.
Now our game of the week kicks off at 7 on MeTV. Darren Vaught and Reggie Walker will have the call, and Jack, I got to get one of those bucket hats.
Look at it. He has to flip it up so that you can see him on camera. I think this game is going to be really awesome. They talk about it all last year. It didn't happen. It's the one everyone wanted. And these two teams, Independence is looking to show that they're not just going to walk away. They've had a couple, banged up games up against Huff, but then they've shown they can stick around with the best of the best. And this is going to be a game that absolutely will be either a playoff rematch when it comes around, or it'll decide who falls on what side of the bracket.
And you've got, two of the best coaches around. And, they joke back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, they're two of the most vocal coaches on social media and beyond.
Exactly. And when I met with Coach Griner, he had some great things to say about McFadden. And he said, even though people think we don't like each other, we respect each other.
I'd love to see
he wouldn't use the word like.
I'd love to see. I think he said it a little bit. I'd love to see McFadden's answer to that. The two programs are very similar. They came up at around the same time.
Yep.
They flipped these programs around, so it should be a very interesting game on Friday night.
Absolutely. All right, coming up next on Varsity Spotlight, we'll reveal the rosters for the 89th playing of the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas. That's December 20th. We'll be right back.
When life feels overwhelming, knowing where to turn can make all the difference.
That's why crisis services are here for anyone at any time, no judgment.
If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health, substance use, or feeling lost,
Crisis services are here for you 24/7.
Compassionate, low, or no-cost services.
Whatever your crisis, you always have options. Find the support that's right for you.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
Queen City Home Store's massive outlet store sale this weekend. Thousands of appliances, mattresses, electronics, and furniture to choose from at up to 70% off. Laundry starts at just $368 and refrigerators start at just $398. Dishwashers start at $268 and microwaves for as low as $168. Plus one-of-a-kind deals on scratch and dent, discontinued and overstocked items, all with full factory warranties. Visit us this weekend, 2430 Queen City Drive, and ask about our flexible payment plans. QueenCityOnline.com.
William H. Harding. Yes, it's William H. Harding. Yeah, the problem solver. Well, unlike other attorneys, I live right here in this community, and we have 3 locations. Well, that's simple. With our no-fee guarantee, you don't pay unless we win. Okay, great. I look forward to seeing you at our office. Thanks for calling. I'm attorney William H. Harding, problem solver.
The lights are shining, the stands are packed, and the student section is going wild. WCCB's high school football game of the week. Be loud, be there. It's go time. Brought to you by Queen City Home Store, your whole home destination, and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Crisis to Care program. When life feels overwhelming, go to ncdhhs.gov/crisis services. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's the Independence Patriots versus the West Charlotte Lions on MeTV, Charlotte 18.3.
Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. On December 20th, down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the best high school football players in both of the Carolinas will play in the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas.
Yep, it is the 89th playing of this very historic game. It's actually the oldest Shrine Bowl in the nation, and for those playing in it or coaching in it, it is, of course, the memory of a lifetime.
Yeah, this past weekend, the rosters were announced right here on WCCB and Bay Hackle Sports. If you missed it, we've got you covered. Let's take a look at these rosters.
Yeah, let's start with North Carolina. We're going to talk quarterback Jacob Smith from Reagan High School, Brody Norman playing.
Yeah, and then you got Tristan Lewis and Jackin Davis from Stratford High School. Tristan Lewis out of there from Greenwood High School. 2 dynamic quarterbacks on both sides.
Yep, also in the backfield, you've got your running backs for both teams. So as we take a look at the running backs, we'll see that there's Cameron McDowell Moore and Jason. Well, you saw those. And then, of course, South Carolina there.
Yeah, Jamie Karim, Mike Doe, and Amari Verner. Jamie from Liberty High School, where his head coach will be there along with him. So that'll be really good for him to have.
Now, of course, to move the ball, you got to have the guys up front. So let's talk offensive line. You've got Nick Keshabura from Grimsley, Steven Stevenson, great name, East Forsyth, Harry Simpson, and of course more, Donovan Johnson, Keith Foster, Micah Martin from Southeast Guilford.
Yeah, the big guys for South Carolina, Zion Giles, Trey Aiken, Scotland Dover, and Malcolm Gaston. You've got a big group of guys there on that front line. Continuing with Lamarian Thompson, Josiah Mason, Anthony Baxter out of South Point High School, and Desmond Green from Timberland High School that should be able to get the ball moving no matter what way they want to go.
I heard these coaches like to run it. Okay, then of course we can talk about the wide receivers that we have playing in this game, and we will start with
you got Dante Nicholson, Brody Keefe, some big guys.
And then you've got Devin Goldston in there.
Yeah, now you've got for South Carolina, Jude Hall, Amir Ackers, and Marius Robertson, Cam Vance out of Northwestern High School, a dynamic talent and can move the ball around, and then Terrence Johnson Jr. out of Oceanside Collegiate Academy as well.
So those are the guys split wide. Then, of course, you have your tight ends for this game, and we talk Gavin Barber from Mooresville. We know a lot about that. David DJ Howerton, and then you've got Walker Kelly from TL Hanna, Cameron Taylor from Woodruff High School.
Yeah, South Carolina's really going to look to make sure that they can just be as dynamic as North Carolina's big tight ends are.
Absolutely. All right, so we kind of rolled through those a little bit. Of course, you can go to our website and check out the rosters also, but as we talk about the offense, both these coaches, so we have Coach Jeff Craddock, and he is from Tarboro, and then we have Paul Sutherland from Liberty. When we had him on our special for the Shrine Bowl Selection Show, they talked running the football. Both of these programs, that's the way they're built. It's interesting to figure out how these coaches will kind of change it up, and do they?
Yeah, well, they'll have to, right?
Right.
Tarboro, I mean, they run their wing tee, right? And they're not going to be able to do that in the Shrine Bowl, at least not the entire time, especially when you've got guys like Dante Nicholson, Brody Keefe, some dynamic wide receivers, Gavin Barber, the App State commit, that offensive juggernaut that you can have over the air. And when you got a guy like, obviously there's their starter, but Brody Norman out of Mooresville, we've seen him be able to sling it down. He's got that added connection with Gavin Barber already. So the two of them together, you're going to have to take care of throwing the football. You've got some juggernauts in front to get that pass protection for you. You've got great running backs. Don't get you wrong. Tarboro's own running back coming up for it. But North Carolina specifically definitely need to air out the ball. Same thing with South Carolina.
Yeah, and I loved how both coaches kind of made sure they had a couple of their own players on offense.
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit easier. Because how do you build a culture in a week, which is crazy? Because these guys get together, they don't know anybody, they don't know the players, but somehow or another they make it work.
Yeah, luckily the assistant coaches they bring with them hopefully have it there for you. But then, of course, there's the defensive side of the ball. You can do whatever you want on offense. You still have to go up against the defense. Let's take a look at some of these rosters now.
Defensive line for North Carolina, we got Chris Bisham, Manny Lewis, Noah Clark, Keyshawn Stansel from Clayton High School.
Some big guys up there. And
Absolutely.
Then, Damod Lewis and Miles Thunderbunk from Myers Park.
We know both those names.
Yeah, and Weddington. South Carolina, Justice Hopkins, Christian Waring, Julian Walker, and Ahmad Scott. Really big bruisers up front. Continuing on down the list as well for Britzel. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name. I don't want to do you dirty. And then Jamie Williamson out of West Florence High School should be creating havoc across both sides of the field.
And then right behind them, of course, you get to your linebackers. And as we look at North Carolina, Caleb Gordon, Jaden Williams, Dallas Brandon, of course, Independence, we had a varsity spotlight athlete on that. And then Taronde Spencer, we're going to Tyler Powell, Dorian Medley, Jaleel Parker from Jack Britt High School. Some big names there.
Absolutely. From South Carolina, you got Raleigh Salters, Cameron McFadden, Jordan Avinger, Daniel Capehart to get the front of it going. And then you've got your Jacks and your Rovers as well when you have Jalen McGraw, Jihad Sneed, and Terry Radford. Some bruisers. Should be fun for the defensive guys to be able to work with on both sides.
And I got a feeling as we talk about the secondary now, let's still get some of the DBs. We look at North Carolina, Ricky Myers, Anthony Katie Cotton, interesting story there. Kyle KJ Bynes, Devarius Surratt, we know that name.
Absolutely.
And what a ball player he is. And of course, Lyrique Pettis from Crest High School and Maddox McDowell from Gardner.
Yeah, South Carolina got Jeremiah Favorite, Deshaun Scriven, Sequel Patterson at Indian Land, and Jordan Best. And then there's even more guys you've got as well. Contavion Anderson, Tylene Drakeford, and Jazavian Currents, the athlete that will more than likely be used on both sides of the ball.
I think he will be. He's kind of got that Travis Hunter deal. Okay, and then of course, let's talk about some special teams. Specialists for North Carolina, Will Dahl and Brett Morgan, when you talk about those two. And then Braylon Peebles and Deontay Neal.
Yeah,
Athlete's interesting. That's a new one.
Yeah, I like that. You got Will Love out of Spartanburg High School. He's got the home field advantage. And then your athletes, Caden Ramsey and Messiah Jackson. I think what's really interesting here, you talk about it, the coordinators are really big in this, right? So for Tarboro, he's going to have He's going to have his own defensive coordinator there to lead it too. You've also got Coach Lloyd out of Crest because we saw Devarius Surratt and Lyric Pettis, 2 Crest defensive backs. It's very rare that you get 2 guys, same position, same school. So I think it's going to be really big. And of course for South Carolina, Jazavian Currents, just as a dynamic ball player, playing quarterback, athlete, whatever he wants for South Carolina, and they should use him like that in the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, and one more thing about the Shrine Bowl, which makes this game, I mean, to think this is the 89th edition is crazy, but also the the relationship they have with the Shriners Hospital and how that all works together, where all the proceeds of this game goes to the Shriner Hospital. And the cool part about the Shriner Hospital is they take care of their patients, whether they can pay, no matter what the insurance is, and for these players, that's a cool deal.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, the Shrine Bowl is set for December 20th down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. For ticket information, head to the website for the game. It is the shrinebowlofthecarolinas.com.
Yeah, coming up next, we'll take a look across the Queen City and surrounding areas, checking on some volleyball action that took place over the last few days. We'll be right back.
I wanted to be healthy. I was newly pregnant.
My periods were always painful, so I texted my friend Elena.
I asked my big sister Naomi.
My best friend Kelsey. She's my go-to.
That's how I found my OBGYN.
I finally feel heard. Thanks, Naomi.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Thanks, Elena.
For personalized, convenient care and 24/7 support, find an OBGYN you'll recommend at Atrium Health.
I told myself I was okay with my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms.
With my psoriatic arthritis symptoms.
But just okay isn't okay. And I was done settling.
If you still have symptoms after trying Humira or Enbrel, Rinvoq works differently. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that can rapidly relieve joint pain, stiffness, and swelling as fast as 2 weeks for some. It can relieve fatigue and stop joint damage. And in PSA, Rinvoq can leave skin clear or almost clear.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin, serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events: infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Done settling?
Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq.
And take back what's yours.
AbbVie could help you save.
Imagine an injury law firm that's committed to preventing accidents, that educates the public on automobile and bike safety, and cares for the community.
That firm is CR Legal Team, and our entire team is equally committed to caring for the whole person after a crash, physically, emotionally, and financially. From way before to way after an accident happens, trust CR Legal Team to stand up for you. Call 888-THE-TEAM.
Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. I'm Jack Taylor. Now, we've already taken a look at some of the action from last week's high school football games, so now it's time to check out some of the action from the court.
Yep, we're going to talk a little volleyball, and we start with Marvin Ridge playing host to Charlotte Catholic. Marvin Ridge is without a doubt one of the best teams in the state. They came into this one with a 20-2 record. Charlotte Catholic came in at 6-13. No surprise in this one. Marvin Ridge dominates from the opening serve and sweeps Catholic 3-0. The Mavericks improved to 21-2 in the season, a perfect 9-0 in conference play. That team is setting their sights on a state title, Jack.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at Huff hosting Garinger. This one ending in a sweep. Huff has come into this game with a perfect 6-0 record in the GCAC conference in the 7A 8A. Does that sound familiar? They leave this one still perfect. Huskies have no trouble winning the match 3-0, going 7-0 in conference play, while Garinger drops down to 1-6.
All right, on we go. Up next, the Knights of AK taking on Rocky River, and this one would be a sweep also. Big surprise. The home team getting the win. AK would have no problems in this one. Rocky River only scored 20 total points in the 3 sets. They lost the first set 25-1. The Knights of Audrey Kell moved to 14-9 on the season. They find themselves in first place in the Southwestern 7A 8A conference with a 7-0 record. Garinger, they fell to 2-11 overall and are still looking for that first conference win.
All right, taking a look at Independence traveling to Chambers. This one would go to the Patriots. Just like the other matches we've shown today, ended in a sweep. Indy getting all 3 sets to improve to 9-4 for the 2025 season, and that means they're 6-1 in the MEC Power 6 conference. Good enough for second right now. That's all they're getting. Chambers falling to 5-10, still trying to get that first conference win. Non-conference, they had some issues, and they're continuing to see those in conference play.
Yep, absolutely. On we go. Hopewell playing host to Myers Park, and here we go again. Another sweep. Myers Park with the 3-0 win in this match. This one never close. This was a conference matchup also. With the win, the Mustangs moved to 11-5 on the year and a 6-1 record in the conference. That's good enough for second in the Greater Charlotte 7A 8A conference. Hopewell, they dropped to 3-16 for 2025, 2-5 in conference play. That's kind of rough. Everyone in that conference, however, chasing Huff, who we just saw a minute ago. They are undefeated, of course, as we said, in conference play.
All right, last one from the court. A big conference matchup in the MEC Power 6 we're talking about. Number 1 in the conference is North MEC, hosting number 3, Butler. North MEC getting that first set, but the Bulldogs are resilient, reeling in 3 straight wins in 3 straight sets to get the win here, 3-1. Butler handing North MEC their first conference loss, and now they're 13-5 on the season, while North MEC is 14-5. That's going to definitely be a preview for what you're going to see in conference championship competition.
Yep, things heating up, and of course, everybody looking to the postseason.
Yeah, now as we do every Friday, it's time to announce our Play of the Week winner from last Friday night's action. After all the votes were tallied, we head to East MEC, who's taking on Ballantyne Ridge, a rainy Friday night right before halftime. What looks like disaster with a loose ball on the ground turns into a 90-yard touchdown run by quarterback Aiden Donnelly. As the half ended, East MEC would go on to win this one 19-13. It's so crazy. Half the time, if there's a fumble, you just fall on it, especially at the end of the half. But he figures if the play's about to end, half's about to end, what do I got to lose? He's got the blockers, he has the field, and you can see Coach Lenny Sanders there losing his mind because that was more than likely the momentum that they needed to power through and win that game.
Yeah, I was there. I was thinking pouring down rain. They're just going to follow it. Nope, let's just, score. All right, we'll have 3 more plays for you to vote on next Monday starting at noon on our website, WCCBCharlotte.com. We have one more segment for you, and coming up, we'll set the table for an exciting Week 7 of high school football. We'll be right back.
From the pitch to the Queen City streets, Charlotte's independent spirit shines as our hometown squad fights for victory. Show your pride, wave your colors, and cheer them on. The Independents take on the Spokane FC Velocity tonight on WCCB Charlotte.
New look, new time. This is the all-new WCCB News at 9, Charlotte's only primetime news. I'm Morgan Fogarty. Change isn't coming, it's here.
My workers' comp checks were either delayed or wrong.
An experienced law firm can help you get the workers' compensation you may deserve to get your life back on track.
James Scott Farron. I got all my benefits.
Call the law offices of James Scott Farron on the Hurt Line.
Spend less for the shrimp you crave with the new Ultimate Spend Less Shrimp.
Ultimate Spend Less Shrimp? That sounds just like
garlic shrimp scampi, shrimp linguine Alfredo, and popcorn shrimp on one plate for just $15.99.
There's nothing less about that.
That's real happiness, only at Red Lobster.
When you want to feel clean and soft, try new Dial Healthy Hydration Body Wash with skin-friendly ingredients. It deeply cleans and hydrates in one shower for confidence to get closer. Dial up your clean.
Hi, I'm Carrie from Anderson Heating and Cooling. My husband is a proud veteran, and together we own and operate our company. We will get the job done the right way, and we will never charge you 1 penny above the fair price of a part, service, or replacement. Our service technicians are some of the best, most qualified, and nicest human beings you will ever meet. You can trust us.
You can trust us. You can trust us.
Trust your home to Anderson Heating and Cooling, AndersonServices.com.
When you're hurt on the job, there are laws to protect you. Put a law firm with experience and knowledge on your side to find out how much more your case may be worth. Call the law offices of James Scott Farron right now.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. I'm Jeff Taylor. That's Jack Taylor. And, of course, we've shown you some highlights. Let's talk about standings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some good stuff going on. Of course, let's start with men's soccer in the area.
Yeah, we go to the Southern Carolina Conference. We talked about Myers Park soccer, but Charlotte Catholic has been dominant all season as well, and that continued in conference play. 3-0 to lead the rally here, and the rest of the teams behind them just trying to catch up and get a game in. Cuthbertson 4-1, Marvin Ridge 2-1.
And really, it's still wide open.
Absolutely.
I mean, technically anybody can win that one.
But you got to get past Catholic first.
You got to get past Catholic
You got to have them
first.
actually lose a game. All right, we showed you some volleyball. Let's take a look at the volleyball standings from around the area. Lake Norman Charter, also one of the best volleyball teams.
Always been strong.
Absolutely. They're 10-1, and that's just in conference play. Right. That continued on throughout the regular play. So Pine Lake Prep, nothing to slouch at. 9-2 in conference play. But when you have a team that's 10-1, you can't get anything past them.
I mean, those top three, who knows?
Same with Davidson as well. Yeah, right there, the two of them. Then you got Christ the King and Bradford Prep, both sitting at 5-6. It's a very top-heavy, top-down conference.
And in that conference, if you can get above 500,
absolutely.
You've done something.
Absolutely. All right, now we'll take a look at football. We've talked a lot about these games. Conference, of course, it's still getting slow in some of the other conferences that are at 4 games. Ashbrook, 2-0. You saw a big win. Kings Mountain right behind him. Crest, they're both separated by a point in terms of points for and points against.
Right.
That gets that 1-0 there. And then South Point, you saw the loss to Ashbrook, but the win over Hunter Huss. Hunter Huss had a win earlier, but losing to South Point, they sit at 5. But that's a tough conference as well.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, when you think about, I go back to these two for some reason.
Well,
and
all these teams were in the playoffs last year.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, now it might not be the case this year, but the Big
I think
South.
you got to keep an eye on Crest.
Absolutely. Now,
I feel like it's election night.
Yeah, you're going to see Crest and South Point take each other on tonight. So that's a huge matchup for this Big South Conference. And then last but certainly not least, we take a look at their last conference there as well, and that is the Southern Piedmont Conference.
Right.
You see it here. We're going to have it pop up, and it's going to be, you have Concord, J.M. Robinson, and Northwest Cabarrus. They're all sitting tied up.
Right.
That'll be a big game with J.M. Robinson and Concord taking off tonight. We talk about these games. The big one to start, though, Palisades and AK. That's going to be a huge conference matchup.
Yeah, anytime you think about, like, this area, AK is always there. Palisades, though, starting to grow into the program that everybody thinks they're going to be.
And this is becoming a budding rivalry between the two of them as well. They're both coming off of byes, so this is the first conference play for the two of them. They both need big wins. You saw AK, they did get a big win over Butler, but Palisades losing to Independence, so that's going to be a big one as well. You've got a lot of other big games that we're going to see here. Weddington, Marvin Ridge. We talked about Crest, South Point. You're going to see other games that really impact a lot of the area. Lake Norman and Statesville.
Right.
Both starting conference competition. And
both
Statesville. Absolutely. The whole conference was on a bye.
Right, exactly.
Statesville hasn't lost a game yet. Lake Norman had some big losses in Reagan and Independence. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Lake Norman can come out on the road and try to go up against Statesville. Some people have said they had a bit of a softer non-conference schedule, but it's time to put up or shut up.
Right.
There's a lot of other big games too. We said Concord, J.M. Robinson. We have Mooresville up against South Idaho. This conference play now is incredibly competitive all across the board.
Yeah, I mean, just, you got all kinds of things. I mean, Mooresville, big game.
Big game against South Idaho, right?
Exactly.
To show how dominant they can be.
Yeah, both of them are, they're exciting on both sides of the ball. It's crazy.
Absolutely. You're going to see some other games that are pretty big too. South Mech up against West Mech, a non-home game. They haven't had a home game all season
long, which is crazy.
They've gone on a tear. So a lot of action for y'all to catch up on tonight. We'll, of course, have the highlights in the Blitz later tonight as well.
All right, so that is it for this week's Varsity Spotlight. Stay tuned for our WCC Sports Game of the Week between West Charlotte and Independence. That kicks off at 7 on MeTV.
And then right after, stay with WCCB as we bring you all the scores and highlights from Week 7 on the Blitz. We'll see you then. This week on Talkin' Sports with my dad
is great.